right, good morning everybody. It's Friday, September 10th. I'm at my buddy's house. This is John Phillips. I'm at my buddy's house. He and his girlfriend just bought this place. They're redoing it. I gotta just set a toilet today, but I've been wanting to do a video on setting a toilet the proper way, the way I do it, you know, at least the proper way I think anyways. So this is the toilet. This is a bathroom. That's going to be a pedestal lav. This is going to be the toilet location. It's got those funky push-on valves, and just like I thought, it'd be missing that gasket. Well, that one's missing too, and that one's missing. So anyways, they're just cone washers. That, you know, run-of-the-mill cone washer will work in this. I can take this off, but I'm not going to bother if I can just put a cone washer in. Anyways, the issue here is it's got an offset flange. Whoever roughed the house in, they didn't hit the mark, and they had to put an offset flange on here, which is going to cause this wax seal to fail prematurely, but it is what it is. So I'm going to put a good sized wax on there, and it's got a metal flange, which I'm not a big fan of. They definitely rot out, and at least it's Capcon to the concrete floor. That should help. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start setting this guy, and I'll get you some footage, and I'll explain what I'm doing and why. So, all right. So I recently went to these plastic bolts. They're actually nylon. The brass bolts. I used to use Johnny bolts, all brass. Now they're showing up with chrome washers and chrome nuts, and I've run into a problem where, you know, they don't want to come off. You've got two dissimilar metals, you get electrolysis, they're just a pain in the ass. These work great. They just slide in. Actually, it's the first time I've used one on an offset. No. So they just slide right in, and they're pretty strong, and to be honest, if you're tightening on it too much, that you break this bolt, they probably just spared you the breaking the toilet. So this wax seal has a horn on it, and some guys don't like them. I get that, whatever. But if you put this on a toilet with a offset flange, you're really restricting that flow. So if you're going to use this type, which may save this wax seal, the lifespan of it because of the offset flange, you're going to need to cut this side off so that it doesn't restrict the flow of the flush. So that's what I'm going to do. And once I do that, I'll put it back on here. I'm going to go ahead and set the bowl. And when I set a bowl, I push it straight down on the wax. I don't move it again. And I take my plastic closet shims. And sometimes it's a 32nd of an inch. But if that's what it needs, that's what it needs. Sometimes it's greater than that. I'll put 4 shims on the toilet, under the toilet, and that prevents it from rocking. Then I tighten the bolts down, and when I'm done tightening them down, these guys are so easy to cut with a mini hacksaw that it makes setting a toilet really, really easy. Once that's done, once it's tightened down to the floor, I go ahead and I use a putty knife, and I cut those shims off on the side of the toilet, and then I tap them in a little bit so that when I caulk the toilet, you don't see the shim through the caulking. And I caulk every toilet. It's actually a code. It's not, you know, something you can do. The code says every fixture shall be caulked where it meets a wall or a floor. So I do that because if you don't caulk them, over time you get urine, you can get bugs nesting under there. It's a place for odor to collect, and it just gets nasty. And you know, actually caulking the bowl of a toilet, you know, is going to keep it in place. I've heard guys talk about, you know, the toilet migrating or moving. And if your toilet's moving, it's not set right. So that's part of the process. Place it in, get it in place. I don't spend a lot of time trying to get it perfectly level. I don't know anybody who's got a level in their ass. I've set thousands of toilets. I've never had somebody call me up and say the bowl of my toilet is off by a 1/16 of an inch. So I'd rather have it flat on the floor, as flat as it can be. This surface is not flat. The toilet itself is not perfect. So you got two imperfect surfaces meeting, and you have to shim it to make it a proper installation. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll show you that. So for now, I'm going to cut out and go get the bowl. I shall return. Okay, so you can see how I cut this can't leak wax. I'm going to go ahead and sit it like this with the long part in the back and the cut part where it goes down into the pipe. I've got my new bolts here, which I really like. Center this wax up and make sure that around the toilet's clean so you don't have the bowl sitting on anything. And I'll be back with the bowl. Okay, so here's the bowl. I got the bowl here. You want to make sure these bolts are square with the wall. And this is actually an ADA height toilet. ADA stands for Americans with Disabilities Act. And it ends up being about 17.5 inches to the top of the seat. With the seat down, not the lid, the seat. So it's a little taller, and once you get used to them, there's no going back. So, anyways, I'm ready to set this bowl, and I just pick it up, find my bolts, and then, like I said, you drop it down, and don't move it again. You can spin it a little to square it up, which if this is the first time you've ever done it, you may want to take a tape measure and measure to these holes with either the seat or where the tank bolts in. But that's in there, and I'm not going to touch it again until I put these shims. These are the shims that I like to use. They're small plastic, they're not rubber, they don't flex any, and I just go around the toilet and put them in wherever I can. Like you can see, I was able to get one in here, I was able to get one in there, and basically they're like legs on a chair. So, I got one in that back corner. One here, so that's good. This toilet's not rocking. I always test it from side to side, back to front, and that's good. So you get the You always want to put these on with this little lip up. And these nuts are 1/2 inch. I use a nut driver to install a toilet. Sometimes they're hard to start, but once they go, they're good and they lock in. This bolt's not going to spin in the flange. And I've got my 1/2 inch nut driver. And I just tighten this guy down. You don't have to, you know, it's like a chair with legs that are the right height. You don't have to nail it to the floor for it not to rock. So I just snug this up, making sure I'm keeping this washer centered so I can get the cap on after. Same thing on this side. Just snug it up. You don't have to wrench it. And what I do next is I take my putty knife, and you can see what I'll do is I'll tap this out in front, tap it in a little bit. This isn't a regular putty knife. This is actually a Husky stiff chisel putty knife. It's very rigid. It doesn't bend or flex. I'm going to do the same thing back here. And they just cut right off. Easy. You want to get at least 4. And then what I do is right here, I'll just tap that in a tad. I mean a real little bit. Just so that that covers it. Then I take my mini hacksaw, which is a tool that plumbers use all the time, and you see how easy these nylon bolts cut off. That's a necessity. You gotta cut them off so you can get the cap on. Alright, so now the bowl is set. It's obviously not rocking. It feels solid as hell. It's only got nylon bolts holding it down, basically finger tight, and you can't move it. Next thing is to put the tank on. So this is a Sterling brand toilet. I like them. I put thousands of these things in new houses, and they flush well. They're not an issue. No fallbacks. A couple things you need to do when you set them, which is true with any toilet. You want to make sure you're tightening. I usually set the tank up on the bowl. And I check to make sure that the ball cock is tight, fill valve. I don't want, and I tighten them until you hear a little squeak come out of it. That's telling you it's tight. These actually have 3 bolts on them, which are nice. It's a Kohler thing. Their gasket, I'll let you see that. This is a Kohler deal. They have them on a lot of their toilets. This three-hole system works great. Just want to make sure these are set in tight, and then you just set it on the bowl. Make sure everything looks square. And then I always put this washer and nut on the back first, because that one's a tough one to get to. You actually need a deep socket to, sometimes you can get it, depending on the toilet. But I like to drive that guy down real far in the back, and then pull the front down. The worst thing is not getting that bolt tight enough in the back so that if somebody leans against the tank, the front tightens up and the back loosens up, and you get a drip. And then they're calling you. Alright, so these are 1/2-inch nuts too. Toilet, and I'm just going to crank this back one down. I'm going to crank this back one down. Make sure the tank's square. Yeah, that's about good. I've got about 3/4 of that bolt, 3/4 of an inch of that bolt hanging out of there past the nut. Now I'm just going to even them up on the front. And you want to make sure the tank is level. I just do it by eye. I've been doing it so long. Somebody says it's not level, it's because of their eyes, so my eyes as big as theirs. Alright, so this tank is on. The toilet's not moving, it's not rocking. The tank has no play in it. The other thing you have to do with these toilets, on every toilet, is make sure that the handle's tight, because they never tighten them up from the factory. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't know how to put it. When you tighten up a toilet, a trip lever, you got to push it all the way down the furthest point it can go, because that's what's going to happen when somebody flushes the toilet. You don't want to push it up and adjust it, tighten it up, and then somebody comes and it rotates a little bit, and now your flapper's stuck up in the air. So push this down all the way. These are actually reverse threads on the handle. And you want to just tighten that up. I use my little channel locks for that. Push it down. It's a little trick of the trade. Not a trick, it's just knowing how to do stuff. So anyways, that's nobody's going to push that handle down anymore. So that's done. That's a done deal. Put the lid on. Everything looks good. Now it's time to put the seat on. And so this is John Phillips with John Phillips Plumbing Service, the president of Ricky Ritardo Productions. Obviously, the last part of this video I didn't get. Me setting the toilet and, setting the seat, and the most important part, which is dapping or caulking the toilet in. It's actually a code issue. It needs to be done. You won't get a final inspection down here in Florida without the toilet, being caulked in. The code actually states that fixtures need to be sealed where they meet the floor or a wall. So it's standard procedure to caulk it in. It actually holds the toilet in place. It is a sealant and a caulk and a adhesive. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Maybe someday I'll be lucky enough to videotape myself caulking in a toilet, showing you how to do that like a pro. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, give me a thumbs up, like and share, subscribe. I'll have more in the future of setting fixtures and showing you how we did it in the field. We've built thousands of houses, and I'm just showing you how we did it every day. So thanks. All right. Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, September 10th. I'm at my buddy's house. This is John Phillips. I'm at my buddy's house. He and his girlfriend just bought this place. They're redoing it. I got to just set a toilet today, but I've been wanting to do a video on setting a toilet the proper way, the way I do it. At least the proper way, I think. Anyways, so this is the toilet. This is a bathroom. That's going to be a pedestal lav. This is going to be the toilet location. It's got those funky push-on valves, and just like I thought, it'd be missing that gasket. I'm well, that one's missing too, and that one's missing. So anyways, they're just cone washers. That, run-of-the-mill cone washer will work in this. I can take this off, but I'm not going to bother if I can just put a cone washer in. Anyways, the issue here is it's got an offset flange. Whoever roughed the house in, they didn't hit the mark, and they had to put an offset flange on here, which is going to cause this wax seal to fail prematurely. But it is what it is. So I'm going to put a good sized wax on there, and it's got a metal flange, which I'm not a big fan of. They definitely rot out, and at least it's Tapcon to the concrete floor. That should help. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start setting this guy, and I'll get you some footage, and I'll explain what I'm doing and why. So, all right.